friends. This is going to be another little Advent video, but not at all like any of the ones I've done so far, because what I have out in front of me here, Martha made this over on Patreon channel. Martha came a few times and dyed this fabric in beautiful colours to make quite a few things. Well, she was pregnant, to make quite a few things for the baby when she arrived, and she's here now. She's 8 weeks old now, and she made this improv styled quilt. It's all there over on Patreon, all the stages of her doing that. It's really nice actually to see, you know, her getting more and more pregnant, and now we have baby Agnes, which is nice. Anyway, we've done the quilt sandwich. It's all quilted together, and I'm trying to get this quilted and bound in time for Christmas. It's going to be something they put on the floor so that little baby Agnes can roll around and kick her feet on the floor. It's a sort of big floor quilt. So my aim is to get this, as much of this possible, quilted. But what I find is happening is that I'm just so busy making channel videos. Who knew that making a video a day was going to be so time consuming? Well, of course it is. But I am enjoying doing it, and I'm enjoying putting things up on the channel. But I'll tell you what the problem is. When I post a weekly video, it's a challenge for me to reply to comments properly. I really respect the fact that people take the time, firstly, to watch the video, and secondly, to comment. And I think it's the least I can do to respect that by, you know, acknowledging those comments. Daily video, it's all got away from me, completely got away from me. So what I thought I would do is stitch on this thing here. I'll get on my iPad here, I'll get the videos and the comments up, and I'll reply to ones where anybody's asked me any questions. What do you think about that for an idea? Because there's I think a couple of videos I've managed to go back in and reply to comments, but not many. It gets me down that I can't engage with you guys like you're engaging with me. So that's my plan today then, is to stitch, check through little video comments here, and chatter on. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put the iPad there because that's where everything is. I've got my quilting ruler, because although this is an improv quilt, so it's, you know, there's no real straight lines going on. It would be nice if the lines were a bit straight. To be honest, I started quilting this last night on my knee while I was watching the telly. Doesn't work. Doesn't work. You need a flat surface. So I took that line of quilting out. That's fine. I'll start again. And Martha's chosen the colours she wants me to do this quilt. They're all in this little basket here. And so I've got all these blues and greys, which is what she wanted me to use. And so that's what I'm going to do now. I've got my little bit of wax. I've got my lovely thimble, which I can't sew without. It's a little neoprene thimble. Just fits on my finger, never falls off. It's just a little end bit there is thimbleized. Have I just made up a new word, Norma? Thimbleized. Yeah, maybe. So glasses on, guys, because I'm going to need my glasses, firstly for quilting and secondly for looking at your comments. Which video shall we start with then? Let's go back to the books one. We won't play it. Don't play it. Thank you. We'll just look at the comments. Okay, right. First of all then, I'm going to get my needle threaded. Otherwise, we're not going to get going with this. These threads used to belong to my mum. My mum died 2 years ago, a couple of weeks ago. And so, you know, I inherited her threads, if you like. And so they're all numbered in her lovely handwriting there, because she did loads and loads of cross stitch, loads. But whenever she would take any off and split it to use, the other bit that she wasn't using, she would look like this one. Well, that was clumsy, Norma. She would rolled it back onto the card. So that's actually not long enough, Mum. Sorry, I'm going to have to use a different bit because I want to make these threads. This isn't a terribly wide quilt, which is why it shouldn't take me too long to quilt, because we're just doing big, you know, like Cantha style quilting stitches. I'm going to take a piece of thread that's as wide as the quilt itself. And then I've got my lovely little pin cushion here, and I'm going to choose a needle. Let's see, will that one go through the work easily? Yeah, that one's fine. Although, no, maybe that one's better. No, that one's good enough. Okay, so we've got a needle, we've got my wax, which is just a nasty little bit of wax candle, beeswax candle that I've got lying around here. And so I'll just get ready and do this, guys. So having resolved to post daily videos in Advent, let me tell you what a problem I've made for myself. Because also over on Patreon, and I really am committed to doing this very much, because I really, really value the people who give me the support on Patreon. Because you might not have noticed, but this channel is ad-free. And so there's absolutely zero revenue comes from this channel, which is how I want it to be. You know, I don't want you to have ads popping up every 5 minutes. It drives me crazy. So I'm guessing it drives you crazy too. And so income needs to be generated, and it's Patreon where it all happens. So my gift to the patrons this Christmas, this Advent, run up to Advent, has been daily videos of me reading. Now, I read last year, and I was saying I'll leave a link and then I forget, but I'll try and leave a link to the Astrid Lindgren book that I read last year, which was Emil and His Clever Pig. And they're all still there here on the channel, free for you to go and have a look at. They're good fun. And you could, you know, do it again and watch them as a daily video if you wanted to. I'm going to put this away because I'm hoping I'm not going to need it. You bet your life I will. Put it in the basket, put that in the basket, and put everything over there. Now, so over on Patreon then, I'm doing this daily reading of, I was trying to find something that was royalty free, because that's a big deal for me. And I did find something that was royalty free because I've written it. I give myself permission to read that. Normally you're going to budge up a bit. I'm going to go in the basket. Still there from the last time you were in it. Okay, guys, just let me do this. I'm just going to mark this up with a... got some chalk somewhere. Bottom of the basket. So I've got a bit of tailor's chalk. Dropped it the other day, look. Annoying. And I'm going to just mark an approximate line, sort of parallel with that stitch line. We'll do there, Martha. How's that sound? Yeah, that seems about right to me. Okay. Right, so the video I've popped on just for no reason except chronologically, it was one of the first. It's not the first, but it's one of the first. Is the book where I made the Advent book, which is slowly filling with lists and ideas and ticking things off and all of that, which is what it was for. It's happening. Whoops-a-daisy. Hang on. Let's sort this out, shall we? Now, the reason why I like quilting here, I've got this pew here that just goes along, that runs along the window. And it means that when I'm quilting, because I like to hand quilt, when I'm quilting a big thing, I can lay it all out here and I can move rather than moving it. So I can move here, but I'm going to move you guys in case we're too far away, as I don't know what's going to happen to the sound. That'll do. So you see, look, I can move myself along and leave the quilt on the table. Okay, this is going, I've never done this before. Let's see how it's going to work. Yeah, so I'm not going to say names because otherwise I'll get into a proper muddle. Because I'll miss people out and that'll be a shame. Pinterest, yeah. What is it about Pinterest? So I'll have 5 minutes on Pinterest. And hours later, you're still there. And so I create boards on Pinterest. I think I'm the last homely house on Pinterest. Or maybe I'm Kate Jackson Textiles, I can't remember. And I've got a board that's called something like, oh, not another board. I've got clothes I would consider wearing one of these days. That's one of my boards. And then I've also got a board that's called The List. And so if you're interested in digging out my Pinterest, can I leave a link to that in the description below? Anna, can we do that? Anna's not here, but she's going to be editing this. And she really likes it when I talk to her because she has her headphones on and she's editing. And she'll go, oh, Kate just said something to me. So Anna, can we put a link to Pinterest in the description? Well, anyway, I've got a board called The List, which is, that's all I'm going to say about that. Okay, so, yeah, Pinterest, it's a marvellous place, but it's where I found the tutorial for that strange binding that I did. I did that Japanese stab bound binding. Somebody said that they wished that I'd shown them in detail how to do it. Do you know it would have been 3 hours long if I had? What I would do is just direct you to someone who's already done a tutorial on that one because it was very hard. It looked great when it was done. And actually the edit in that one did include me taking out quite a lot of stitches where I'd gone wrong, because it's very easy to go wrong, especially when you draw the template out wrong. You are lovely. There's some lovely comments here about it. And someone here says that the binding, that sort of binding, eats a lot of the book of the paper. It's wide. You know, so if the book's this wide, the binding's this wide, it means it eats a lot of the paper. Now, I agree, it does. If my aim had been to get as much paper as possible in the book, then that would have been a thing. But really, for list, you know, you can write a list on the back of an envelope, can't you? You don't need much space to write a list or jot an idea down or pin a picture or something. So I'd take your point. And if my main reason for making that book had been to have a lot of paper in the book, I'd have chosen a different binding. The main reason for that book was to have very decorative covers and a really beautiful binding. Almost doesn't matter that it eats a bit of the paper. So I take your point though. And there's some, now Gaynor, I am here, not going to tell anybody's names, but I am going to say hi to you. You're a very sweet person. You really are. I mean, everybody who comments is absolutely lovely. But pop across to Tales from Cuckoo Land and give Gaynor a bit of love. Sweet girl. Okay, yes, Pinterest. Yes, how long in real time did it take me to make that book? Well, that's probably about 3 hours of my life I'll never get back again. Not all of that was, because I tend not to sit down and make something from start to finish very often. The way that I like to work is, as you may have noticed by now, is to have several things on the go at once and just think, okay, what do I fancy doing? Like this morning, I woke up this morning and I thought I made a really poor job of quilting that quilt on my knee last night. I need to quilt it on the table. And then I thought, yeah, but I haven't got time because I've got to crack on with the other things that I'm doing as well. I thought I'll combine the two. So when you ask how long did it take to make that book, I guess smashed all together, it was 3 hours because I had to prepare the paper. I had to mark out the binding. That was the hardest part. But once I'd done that, then I had to make all the holes with that fabulous punching thing I've got, which is lying around here somewhere. Excuse me, I've got some water. Yeah, making the covers in the way that I did by sewing the fabric, it meant that I didn't have to mess about with end papers and glue, and that was good. I like that. It's taking out these bent quilting pins here. So yeah, and quite a lot of people are saying they were inspired to try, and I'd say, do, please have a go. Now, that brings me on to another thing that is common throughout all of the, whoops-a-daisy, caught on a pin. People are, so here I am posting these daily videos. I have to confess, I made some of them a little while ago. I'm not making them daily. I think you probably gathered that, although I am doing this today. And so people are, oh, my word, you're so talented, you're so clever, la, la, la. Actually, if you look at some of the things that I'm doing, most of the things that I'm doing, I'm just having a go. I'm not an expert. I think I won't do myself down. There's some things that I really, really love doing and I'm okay at. But there's other things that I think, oh, I wonder what that would be like. The one where I made the little willow ornaments, I'd never done anything like that before. But I just thought, I've got some willow. I've got this lovely wire. I thought, how hard can it be? And I think that's the thing I say to myself a lot. How hard can it be? And if you don't try, you'll never know, will you? Just how straightforward. Things are usually straightforward if you take your time. Gather together everything you need, cut yourself a whole block of time out of the afternoon or whenever, and go for it. That's what I'd say. And so, yeah. Also, the other thing about that is not minding how much time it takes. So it's not like we're beating the clock here. We're not going. There's a YouTube channel I watch. They're an American family who are homesteaders. It's the Justin Rhodes Show. I've actually stopped watching it because it's kind of, they concentrate a lot on killing things, and that's not, it's fine for them. I don't mind them doing that. In fact, if you're going to eat animals, you should actually be prepared to raise them yourself and kill them yourself. But I'm not a meat eater, so I don't really want to watch all of that. However, so I've stopped watching them for a bit. But what always used to tickle me about Justin is he walks around, he says, well, I've got 15 minutes now. And so I've just got time to move those sheep to there, which will free up another 10 minutes over here. And he kind of portioned out his life into manageable chunks of time. Now, I think that's great if you're trying to achieve a lot, and they do. They do try to achieve a lot, a huge amount. But it feels to me like a few years ago, I put on my indicator and I moved over into the slow lane. I might even have turned off the highway altogether and gone onto the back roads. It feels to me like making a conscious choice to live slowly means that you can have a curiosity about how things are made and not mind about how long it takes. And, you know, I don't succeed at everything I do at all, not at all. There are some things I make that are just okay or complete failures. But most of the time, they're just about okay. Yeah. So there you go. So don't stop saying, you know, oh my God, you're so clever. I'm not clever. I'm just willing to have a go. Yes, I did pick the most difficult and complex book binding, Linda. I did. Yeah. No, I'm not the opposite of you. I won't take that. Definitely not. Okay. Yes, do try that binding. It's a lovely way to start off Advent. Thank you. Yeah, okay. Step-by-step instructions. Most of the things I learn by looking up on YouTube or on Pinterest, and I find tutorials. Most of the time I think, how do you do that? How do you do that, Norma? And Norma will say, just do a Google search, Mum. That's what you say, don't you? Don't worry about this quilt. I'll wash it before we give it to Agnes. Okay, let's keep going on the comments. Okay, you're going to go there. Thank you, darling. I got a huge load of logs delivered yesterday that all need to be stacked. And I thought, yeah, I'll do those. But the rain came. I had them covered with a tarpaulin, but the wind blew the tarp off and the rain wet the logs. And so, yeah, it's ridiculous having wet logs when I'm sitting inside here making videos. So I've got to be outside and stack the logs. So that's going to happen. Thank you everyone. Yeah, okay. So yeah, you are so talented. I'm really not. I'm just willing to have a go. What do you think, Norma? As long as she gets fed, she doesn't really mind. Now there's somebody who comments here who has the same name as my daughter-in-law. Same name. So when I see it, I think, oh, what are you doing commenting on here? And then it's someone else. It's got her name. It's her name, obviously, but they both share a name is what I really mean to say. Okay, how's this going to work? I'm getting along this row now. And this person who has the same name as my daughter-in-law has just told me that she has to put a ban on Pinterest. I know what you mean. It's just such a massive time waster, isn't it? Somebody's enjoying the background music. Good. Anna's chosen all of that. She's helping me do the edit. She'll be getting all of this footage later on to edit. Good luck with that, Anna. And yeah, and she's chosen the music. I'm really pleased with it. She made the introduction and everything. Christmas boxes. Yes, thanks, Joe. They have all sold. There's one that I'm waiting for. I saved for somebody and I'm waiting for her to get back to me. But yeah, they did. I was very pleased about this Christmas boxes. I really was, actually. I was surprised. Do you know, I'm often surprised, often very surprised by how things work on this channel and on Patreon. I never look for any of this. It's marvellous. It's really, really, really marvellous how things are going here. Great. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I recognise names again and again and again because people who watch often comment as well. So this person says, "You never do things the easy way, do you?" No, I don't. I never do. Yes, the hole punch. Revolutionary. Changed my life, that did, because I used to do all my hole punching, because I do make quite a lot of books, and I have in the past and will again. And that hole punch, I used to mess about with an awl, doing them all by hand. What a difference it's made. It's so powerful. It can go through really thick cardboard or many layers of paper. It's really, really good. The Big Bite Crocodile. And I will keep smiling and I will keep warm. Thank you. Great. So, so lots and lots and lots of lovely comments on the books then. Now, if I'm going to do my intention here and crack through this, I'm actually going to have to look at some other videos. So this is a Christmas pudding video. And what I'm loving about the comments here, because I made that one on Stir Up Sunday, which is the 24th of November, but I posted it in my Advent series. And the idea is that you stir the pudding and make a wish. And I said that in the video, but oh, such a lot of people in the comments closed their eyes and made a wish as well. Oh, I love that idea of us all wishing on my Christmas pudding. And what I'd say is, I just hope all your wishes come true. I really, really do. Oh, yeah, I do. So, good. Excellent. This one, I'm going to read this one out because it absolutely made me howl with laughter. Okay. This person, Lucy, she says, she says she always wanted to write a cookbook entitled Because My Mother Did. Now listen to this story. She told the story about a young woman who was starting out baking for her own family and taking the Sunday roast or ham and cutting both ends off before baking it. And her husband looked at her in surprise and said, "Why are you doing that to a perfectly good roast?" And she said, "Well, because my mother always did." And he thought it was a bit ridiculous. So they asked her mother one day why she did that. She replied, "Because I never had a pan big enough." So it made me laugh a lot. That's such a fun. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Now, candied cherries. Here in the UK, I guess you could find these anywhere in the world, but there are undyed cherries that are, yes, they're covered in sugar, but they've not been dyed so that they don't taste of anything, and they also look pretty horrible and bright red, which is not what cherries look like when they've been processed. And so I get these unfettered cherries, and they really do taste good. And the cherries were all because Anna wanted cherries in the Christmas pudding, even though cherries are not in the recipe. The things I do for my kids, eh? And someone said that they miss seeing Norma. Now, what I'm going to say, she's right here. Oh, I'll just move this so that you can see the beautiful girl. What I'll say about that is you won't ever see her on cooking videos ever, or any of the other cats for that matter, because it's a cooking video. I've got food ingredients all over the place, and you know what they're like. You see her now. They just jump up and sit on anything. So I put them in the sitting room and shut the door. They've got access to their food. They've got nice warm places to lie down. They're not being impoverished or anything. I'm not shutting them out. They're just not in the food preparation area. Yes, sorry about that. And then someone was chuckling at the glacé cherries going down the supermarket belt. Can I tell you how complicated that shot was to do? I've got a friend who works in the shop where I bought them called Pam. She's absolutely lovely. And I wanted to get that little shot. And I thought, well, I don't know quite how to do this because I need to do it on a conveyor belt that's not in use, really. So I asked Pam to turn one on for me. She did. It was really, really good. She's lovely. I like that shop. And the smell in the kitchen was divine. Yes, it was. It really was. Somebody asked, do I have to put the puddings in the fridge? No, they're perfectly fine. They're all wrapped like you saw them, waiting for them to be served and ready. But what I would say is that I keep them in the porch, which is the entranceway to the house, is freezing. Absolutely freezing. It's exactly like walking into a fridge. So I do use it as my fridge. I store all my vegetables in there. And sometimes if the fridge is a bit full, in fact, in the winter, I almost don't need a fridge. So they're all stored out there and keeping lovely and cold out there, and they'll be fine. I guess I could feed them with a bit of alcohol. I haven't done that yet, but that would be a thing to do. But what is it? It's only the beginning of December. I still could do that. Okay, and the pleat. So I talk about the pleat and say, I don't know idea why I'm doing this. I think if I'd thought for even a nanosecond, I would have come up with the idea myself that it was to help the pudding expand if it was going to. Thank you, everybody who pointed that out. I think I could have thought of that one if only I'd stopped for a minute. But yeah, my mum always used to do that. And don't like cutting off the ends of the ham. Don't we always do that? Yes, we do. Now, Norma, I've done one whole line of that. Everything's got to move now. You're not going to like this, but everything's got to move, including you. What have I taken on here? Sorry, mate. I'm moving the quilt down. Yeah, so I'll tell you what, sweetheart, you go in this basket for a minute. There you go. I'll move this quilt down, and if you want to come back, you can. Of course you can. Okay, bear with me, guys, while I just do this. We'll find the next line, which is going to be... there, let's put the next, well, I'll tell you what, we'll use the 6 inches, that's about right, isn't it? Okay. All right, choose another colour, I think. There we go. Do I like that colour? No, don't. That colour. Same colour. I'll use that colour then, dark grey. Just... let's look at some more comments. So someone said here that they watched this video. This is the pudding one I'm still on. Sitting down with a cup of tea. And that's what I like to think of you. You think, oh, good. Last Homely House, new video. I'll put the kettle on, make a cup of tea. I really like the idea that I've got this idea in my head because of some of the lovely comments that people have left over the months since I've been doing this. It's like sitting having a cup of tea with a friend. And I've got this image in my head of this massive, great big virtual sofa. Huge, it's massive, it goes on for miles, and all of you sitting on it. And I'm walking up and down, pouring out the tea and giving you another biscuit. It's in my head, that little virtual scene, and I like it. So when I split the embroidery thread into 3, I'm just putting the one round my neck that I'm not using, because I'll come back and use that later when I'm maybe going the other way, because we're going to go this way and that way. And so there'll be the ones here that I'm not quite using yet. Okay. Great. Yes, brought back lots of childhood memories for lots of people. The Christmas pudding video. Oh, we've gone a bit. Let's just get ourselves back again. Hang on. There we go. Let's try that. This is something I read quite a bit. It'll be from someone who's just discovered the channel. And they say, oh, I've just discovered your channel and I like it, which is lovely, thank you. And I'm binge watching all your videos, and it really makes me feel, oh, hang on a minute, maybe don't watch too many. You know, get up and have a walk around a bit. Maybe because I binge watch people as well, and it's like, oh, have I been here for 3 hours watching these videos? Don't do that. Get up and walk about and, you know, get outside and breathe some fresh air. No, didn't forget the cherries. And people are reminded of relatives who have passed away. And I really like that. Because, you know, like putting the pleat in, you know, I'm thinking about my mum there. You know, it's at times like that, isn't it, that you think, oh yeah, I remember my mum used to do that. And it's not like we can get terribly sad, but we can just get thoughtful. Just be thoughtful about it. I love that stuff triggers memories like that. I really do. So that's good. If it's triggered memories and you can be happy about them, then that's good. New line drawn. Now, I'm breaking my rule. I always quilt that way and then this way and then that way and then this way. But do you know something? This quilt's so small and the lines are so far apart, it's not going to make any difference. So I'm not going to get upset about that. Yes, the music. I'm glad you're enjoying the music. I've said that already. But it is. I'm pleased that you're all enjoying Anna's input into the music. So all these people who make wishes, it's absolutely lovely. I'm pleased that you all have. It's lovely. So there's a few comments on the Christmas pudding video. They're all so lovely. But now, in the interest of speeding on here, let's turn that off. I'm going to answer a few questions on the Advent balls. Now, this idea of making... Oops, what's going on there? Hang on, I'll just get this started properly. Advent, then. I think it's nice to anticipate things, isn't it? And to do a bit of a countdown. Norma's just here now. You can't see her. She's on a beautiful cushion, though. Anticipation. You know, sort of counting down to something. Getting prepared for something. I think that's quite nice. To spend the time thinking, reflecting, making, doing. So I've always liked Advent. And so making this Advent ball. Last year I made the movie anagrams one for my kids. And it wasn't universally popular with some people who aren't good at that sort of thing. So that's why I made the countries outlines. Because John is such a brilliant geographer. He's texted me every day with the name of the country. He's got them, every single one. He's absolutely brilliant. Where's my line gone, Norma? There it is. And so the idea of Advent then, it's one I really like. Now, let's see what you guys are saying. Good idea. And such a simple one. You are going to have to just move because I'm sewing along there now. Can you sit there? No, you can't, can you? Sit somewhere else. This idea, it's so simple. I had another idea, which you can have, you quilters, you sewers. I thought as a lovely, lovely Advent present for a quilter would be 2.5-inch strips, like a jelly roll strip. And what are they? Width of fabric. I'll make one of these one year with a little sewing notion in between each layer, so that, yes, you're breaking up a jelly roll. So instead of just giving somebody a jelly roll for Christmas, you're going to give it to them wrapped up as a daily Advent thing. It's an idea. It's yours if you want it. And now you're in front of the iPad. Come on, settle. Okay, let's see. Yes, someone's laughing at you, Norma. Yes, and somebody was remembering that when I did the big drawer tidy out, I found some 3 not Advent balls. They were just made in the same way, but with little Indian surprises in each layer from when I went to India. Oh, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago now. And I brought back loads and loads and loads of little trinkets from the bazaars and the markets. And I made quite a few of these little balls with all these Indian treasures in. And I had 3 left from when I'd made those. And I had the plan to sort of, I don't know, do a prize draw or something. And then Sadie got into the drawer and wrecked them all, shredded the lot. So if you are going to make these crepe balls and you have an animal in the house, I've told the people I've given them to, they all have dogs, the people I've given these Advent ones to, that a dog would make very, very short work of this Advent ball and eat all the chocolate. So that's a warning. Yeah, Sadie she just saw it as a lovely toy. She's just a young thing, Sadie. Great idea, good. Good, so I'm glad that quite a lot of you are going to store that idea away for next year. Go for it, I say. Now, there's somebody who follows me who comments quite a lot, who says that Norma would like a ball of paper like that. It's more Sadie, I think. She's just a bit too old and unbothered for anything that involves that activity. She just wants to sit on top of anything I'm doing, as you can see. So she's not getting a paper ball. Yeah. Fun. Basically, the general idea is that it was a lot of fun. It was. I enjoyed doing that one. And the girls who you saw opening them at the end, I made one for them and I made another one for my other friends, Ed, who gave me the idea of the countries and set me on the way of the link. They've got exactly the same one and they're very good friends. So they're texting each other if they get stuck. And I get a text at the end of the day saying what the name of the film is, so that I can know that they've got it. So it works well. It's a good interactive thing to do. Great. Basically, people are loving the idea. Great, you store it away. It couldn't be simpler, could it? It's the very, very easiest idea to do. Now, I remember one year I made one for, I wonder if anybody's got the little book, The Story of My Friend. Well, in it describes that story. And there are 2 little girls in that story. And one year I made them an Advent ball. But I put glitter in between each layer. Big, thick, chunky glitter, not little tiny, tiny, sprinkly glitter. It was just like big, but quite a lot of it. Well, it didn't go down very well. It turns out that not everybody loves glitter. I don't quite understand those people, but it's a thing. And they opened the first layer when they were all in bed. And the mum said, I've been hoovering glitter out of corners and places and bed sheets for days. And so I think they got into the way of just having to open it outside every day. So if you're going to do glitter, put a glitter warning on. I tend to put glitter warnings on everything now because, you know, you never know whether they're going to be those sorts of people. Great. So basically, you're all loving the idea of the Advent balls. And, stop. I don't want to talk to myself. And you're storing that one away for next year. Now, where I'm up to at the moment is I posted about making Agnes's Christmas stocking. Now, I made that a few weeks ago as well, and I'll tell you a story about that. I made the video, and I edited that one because there's a lot of technique in there, and I didn't want to miss any stages out, so that if people were wanting to do something like it, you would need to know which bits you could edit and which bits you couldn't. So I edited that one. But then I made the stocking and I put it away in a safe place. Do you have a safe place where you put things? Do you ever forget where that safe place is? Oh, a little gap there where I had a little FaceTime conversation with my editor. She's on her way. That's nice. Okay, so I was looking at the comments for the Christmas stocking, wasn't I? So, okay, and I can't remember what I was saying, but this is what I will say. Is there any coherence to this at all? There really isn't, is there? Okay, so some things that I think, like with the willow decorations, I thought, I have no idea how you do this, but I'm just going to give it a try. Felting, though, on the other hand, is something I do know how to do. And it's one of the things that I used to do. I used to teach it. And I used to make felt, 10, 15 years ago, I used to make a lot of felt. And so deciding that I would make this felt stocking for Agnes, it was just like resurrecting the memory of that. I don't felt anymore. It's just like there's just not enough hours in the day. So I do know how to do that one. Now, people were saying red side out or green side out. And at the moment, it's over there, because I found it. It's green side out. And I've started making little things to put inside it. And so later in Advent, I'll show you the little gifts I'm going to put inside for Agnes. At the moment, it's green side out, but I agree with you. Red side out, green side out. But there's one tiny thing that's swaying me. When Anna saw it, my daughter-in-law, she said, oh, the red side looks like meat. No, it does. That's all I can see is meat. So she might get the green side out. She can decide when she gets a bit older. Yes, wet felting, found it tiresome and much rather get pricked with a felting needle. And now I've done needle felting as well. And of the two, wet or dry felting, I actually much prefer wet felting. Because with that needle felting, if anyone's ever done that, it's just like stabbing away at the fibre. And I find that I don't like it. I just don't enjoy doing it. So enjoying my daily Advent, thank you. Thank you. So the felt stocking was quite a long one because it felt to me like I wanted to show the process. So that not just, so sometimes when I'm making something, it's just like, oh, I'm making something, here it is, finished. Because really I'm just having a chat with you and making something. But that one, I thought, no, I really want to show people how felting works. Now, there are loads of different ways of felting. I've got a friend who's an incredibly good felter. So her entire living is felting. We're just going to move along, guys. Just a minute. She keeps her own sheep. And everything she makes is from her own sheep. She's amazing. Now, I know her very well, and she'd probably have a few. In fact, the whole time I was making that video, I was thinking, I wonder what she'd think about this. She would probably have a few things to say. So there isn't just ever one way of doing anything, is there? There's always variations, and no one's completely right or completely wrong. Yeah, the spinning wheel. Oh man, I'm missing my spinning wheel. I've got such a lot of lovely fibre, and one of the things I'm longing to do is get my spinning wheel out and make a bit more yarn. Maybe make something for Agnes. But do you know, the real life gets in the way thing? It is. At the moment it is. There's other stuff going on that is nothing to do with Patreon or YouTube that I have to attend to. And so I think come 2020 in January, I think I might put some time aside to get my spinning wheel out and actually make some yarn. I think it would be nice just to have a few days off and spin. I love it. I love spinning. This is a comment I get a lot. There's a problem with this video. There are no cats. There were no cats with her. Sometimes the cats are just asleep somewhere else. And let's just say a word about the cat, shall we? She's almost always here, unless, as I say, it's a food video. I have 3 other cats. You almost never see them. They're very solitary, my cats. They don't hang out with each other. They don't, you don't stumble across the 2 of them fast asleep together or anything like that. And they just don't like each other. Even the 2 that are sisters don't like each other. So if Norma's here and monopolising things here, the other 3 just tend to be elsewhere. So you never see them. They're very friendly cats. They're really nice cats, but you never see them. So yes, this video had no cats. Sometimes they're just asleep somewhere else. This same person asks, can you put soapy water in the spray bottle? Yes, you absolutely can. And so that can be, there's several ways. As I just said, there are many ways of making felt, or of doing anything, actually. You'll have your own way of doing that. Now, one way of doing it is to make a solution of water with soap flakes and hot water, and not use a misting spray bottle like that, but use a spray that's got bigger holes. So sometimes if I was going to be making any amount of felt, I would get a plastic milk bottle, empty, and drill holes in the lid so that the holes were, much bigger than a spray bottle. Fill that with hot soapy water. And the reason why I guess I apply the soap separately is because that water will cool down, and so it's good to keep the water really, really hot when you're doing at that stage of felting. So yeah, of course you can put the water in the bottle if you want to. Yes, I was wondering what you were going to make for Agnes, and she will love this. Well, I'm making quite a lot of things for Agnes, as it turns out. But, of course, she's a very handmade baby. Somebody is saying this one is their favourite video so far. Well, that's good. Thank you. Where's the fibre from? Okay, so the fibre that I used to make the colour, the green and the red is merino fibre. That's the most readily available, felts really easily, comes in a fantastic range of colours, and felts as soon as you start rubbing it, it felts. Now, when I taught felt, I used to teach kids. I used to do sessions in schools, or I would have little holiday workshops for kids. I taught adults as well, but I used to love to teach kids felting because it's very physical and they really got it and they made something. It's really great when you get a result for your efforts, isn't it? And so I used to make all sorts of things with kids. And merino fibre, it's cheap. It's not the most expensive fibre there is. And it comes in such a fabulous range of colours. Now, if you're going to get into the ethics of this, you should really buy your fibre from a source where you know where it's come from. And merino, there's a massive industry. So, I mean, I'll use up what I've got, but I probably won't buy any more sort of like cheap and cheerful merino because, you're not sure about the welfare of the sheep and the provenance of the wool. Done a second line there, Norbrain. Sometimes call her that. Going to do a third line. So yeah, merino fibre. Good, excellent. People wanting to try some of these things. Someone says it's good enough to wear. You can actually make things to wear out of felt like that. I could have made Agnes a pair of felted booties. In fact, maybe I will next year because they're really interesting to make because you make them in one piece and then cut them in half. So maybe I'll do that next year. Maybe if Martha wants them. Somebody says that they love Agnes's name. So do I. This isn't why it was chosen, but it's the name of my dad's mum. I need you to just move again, sweetheart. Try the basket. Thanks. Yeah, it's a beautiful name. Okay, we're going to do another line. Just stay in the basket for 5 minutes, will you? Another line, guys. 2 lines I've done. This is great. Mind you, I don't know how long we're going to put this on for because it's turning into quite a long video, this one. Let's do some more comments before I do that. Great. Good. I'm really pleased if this inspires people to try something that they've never tried before, because it's actually really easy. You've just got to be patient with felting, I'd say. Super patient. Super patient. And someone here has said that they usually don't comment, but they wanted to on this time, and they're binding some books. Oh, that's good. Good. I'm really pleased. So this is an interesting comment. Can we do Advent in November? I'm really aware that a lot of what I'm doing you need to have done already. Advent calendars, you need them before December. Christmas pudding, you need it to be maturing. Right, let's reinvent Advent. And what about thinking about a new way of doing this so that we do the run up to Advent next year? And we do pre-Advent preparation, Christmas prep. Isn't there a thing, Christmas in July? Isn't that a hashtag? I think it is. That might be a good idea, because you really do. If you're going to get organised for a handmade Christmas, you need to start months ago. Yeah, good point. I'll bear that one in mind. We're too late for some of these things. And it would be better for me as well, because it seems like everything's just coming together at the moment. And it's hard to try and do everything. Red side out for Christmas. Yeah. Was thinking about putting a little bit of needle felting on it. Decided against it. I quite like it plain how it is. Great. Thank you. Someone says that they like the way I teach. I am a teacher. That's what I've done for most of my life. I mean, I had a job, but there was always an element of teaching, imparting information to adults. And then I've done a lot of voluntary kids teaching. I like teaching. So that's really kind of you to say that. Thank you very much. Yeah, labour intensive, but worth it for darling Agnes, yes. Great. I'm really pleased that people, generally speaking. Now, this is a comment I don't get. And okay, I'm going to hold my hands up here. When it was wet and you flipped it, it made me think of a wet Grinch. I've never watched any Grinch movies. Somebody else said something about the Grinch. Not a clue. Sorry. I just know he's green. That's all. Okay, maybe I should do something about that. I watched a movie last night while I was trying to hand stitch this on my knee. I watched Moulin Rouge with the Baz Luhrmann Moulin Rouge. Fantastic film. Okay. Someone says that I continue to amaze them. Well, you continue to amaze me, all of you. Thank you. You're loving the nightly videos. Okay, just a heads up. In January, we're going to go back to weekly videos. This has just about got me on my knees. It really has. Yes, good. This will send me to my craft closet for my box of fleece. Kate, you are a mischief maker. Good. If that's the kind of mischief I make, that sounds good to me. Yeah, so many things to make. There are. You can make anything. We can live in a completely handmade world, can't we? Where we don't need to be rushing off to the shops you know, you might have noticed or noticed the lack of. I've never once mentioned Black Friday or Super Monday or whatever it's called. Not in the slightest bit interested in acquiring things. Not in the slightest bit. We don't need them. We really don't. The less we own, the happier we'll be. I own far too much stuff. Trying to get rid of it. Yeah, maybe Agnes will watch these videos one day and see the, she's 8 weeks old at the minute, so see the amount of effort her grandma went to. There's more to come, Agnes. Just to warn you, darling, there's lots more to come. Yes, good. Good. Thank you, thank you. Great. And the, wow. Well, wow to you too. Absolutely wow to you too. Now, I was going to draw the next line in, wasn't I? And I haven't. And I'm kind of going to go approximately, I'll do this one 7 inches because we don't want to be regular here. We actually really do want to get some element of slightly random in here. So we'll do this one 7 inches and I'll carry on up here, and then I'm going to have to move you, Norma, so I can draw your line. What do you think about that, Norma? So I'm really looking forward to finishing this. It's got a lovely binding, which is the red, is the pinky reds. Okay, you just need to go there, sweetheart. Thank you very much. Excuse me. That's great. I'm just going to draw a line over your feet if you don't move. Thank you. And now we'll choose another colour. Yeah, so I've answered questions on all the videos that are out at the moment, because I'm doing this on Friday the 6th. So tonight's video will be, I'm going to have a go at making the willow, the little willow and the birch, little birch things. You'll see. Well, you've seen, because this is coming out later. We're scheduling these for in a few days' time. I don't know what we're doing. Right, let's cut this one. Lovely Norma. So I was at the post office yesterday with a few more things to post for Christmas. There's a few things in the shop. Always the books. There's some calendars still. Not many, but there's definitely some calendars. So I'm splitting this into 3, okay? And sometimes, if I remember, I stick it through the handle of my scissors like that, so that when I pull it, the whole thing runs apart. It's just a little tip that I do, especially if it's so long. So yeah, I was at the post office yesterday, and who should I bump into but Philippa, who the beautiful glass artist who made the glass angels that went into the Christmas box, which people are really enjoying. She also made the reward for the patrons this month. There's a video over on Patreon about that. I think that's coming up soon, or it already has come up. And so she's got a little, there's a craft shop where the post office is, and she's got some of her things in there. And so I went over and had a look at them. She's made these adorable Christmas trees. That are little glass Christmas trees. They're absolutely beautiful. How I didn't come home with 6 of them is a mystery to me. But then what have I just said about not owning things and not cluttering the place up with things? Although that's not clutter. That is absolutely awesome. Okay, so I'm waxing this now, 3 strands. Put those back in there. And then we'll get on with the 3rd run. That would be great if we can do 3. Because there's lots to do today. That's the constant cry every day. There's lots to do. For those of you who live in the UK, you can't have you can't be avoiding the news at the moment. And for those of you who don't, there's a general election happening in the UK, and it's next week. Is that we're going to have a new Prime Minister. I'm saying that confidently because that's what we need. And so I always usually get really quite involved in elections and go canvassing and, you know, wear the T-shirt, all of that. And this year, it's not been possible to do so much of that because of other stuff that's going on. And so I'm a bit distracted by all of that nonsense. But by this time next week, it'll all be over. Now, there's lots of different ways of doing the quilt sandwich, putting the 3 layers together. My way is to use these little bent safety pins, these quilting pins. But it does mean that your thread catches on the pins a fair bit. And so I've never tried spray basting, but I think it's something that, you know, I wouldn't mind giving it a try. Oh, someone's coming in. Hiya.
Hey, how's it
Come
going?
and sit down.
Okay.
How are you doing, Anna?
I'm not doing too badly, thank you.
So my editor's just turned up. That was the FaceTime I had to stop for earlier. She was just on her way. Hey, come and say hello to the YouTube friends, Anna.
What are you up to?
Well, I thought that I would...
Straight for me.
Straight for you. Anna's a bit allergic to cats.
A little bit.
A little bit. Not massively, but, you know, a bit. No, I thought that I wanted to get on and start stitching Martha's quilt because I've got an ambition to get it finished for Christmas. I'm not sure if I will.
That's a good idea.
I've done 2 rows while talking to the chaps already.
Yeah, it looks lovely.
Thank you. Well, Martha made it. As a stitching, I'm just stitching about every 6 inches. Look, Norma, we're stitching about every 6 inches. Anyway, the reason why I'm doing that is, and I've got my iPad open here, is that I've been answering comments.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
It really started to get me down that I couldn't answer comments on the channel because...
There's been so many though.
Yeah, that's been the problem. I mean, it's a lovely problem to have, isn't it?
Yes.
But it's just that I can't keep up.
Yeah.
Because there's Patreon as well, and so too. Why? What have we done, Anna? Why have we taken this on?
I don't know.
Why have we taken this on?
It seemed like a good idea
It seemed like a good idea in August. It did, didn't it?
It really did, yeah.
And it is still a good idea.
No, it is. Yeah.
But we're just going to have to manage it a little bit better because I'm going slightly crazy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, 2 a day is a lot.
It's silly.
Yeah.
So anyway, I just told the YouTube friends that I'm going to be taking weekends off.
Oh, good.
Which means you can take weekends off as well.
Yay.
Because what people don't see is what goes on behind the scenes. You know, it's not just... I mean, this one is me sitting in front of the camera yabbering on. This one won't take much editing. You can have this one now.
Oh, cool.
But some of the other ones that have got lots of edit in them... Explain what it is you do, Anna. If you get the raw footage, then what do you do?
Well, I have a little watch through. I often have a little laugh. Kate quite likes that.
Because Anna's sitting here at the computer, and I've got headphones on so that I don't have to listen to myself again. But also, if I'm doing something else, she can be in her own little world editing.
Yeah.
And I think I remember what it was.
I remember because Kate was filming something, and then behind. Where am I looking, by the way?
You're looking here.
Okay, it's a new camera.
New camera.
Yeah, so Kate was
I was
filming over the top.
Here at the table.
Was that what it was? No, because you were behind. I think it was when you were doing one of your food things, and in the video she went, "You can just cut that out, Anna." But because it was like behind the camera, it sounded like you can just cut right behind my head, and I was like, "What?" I got so confused.
Because sometimes when I'm filming like that, I actually give direction. I say, "Oh, just cut that bit out, Anna." And this one time you thought I'd actually said it in your ear.
It was so convincing. Then I went back and listened to it again. The same thing happened because it just sounded exactly like you were behind my head.
So those ones that are things like cooking or making anything really, there's a lot to edit out.
Yes.
And there's a lot, and there is, isn't there? And there's a lot, I mean, you won't be able to do it on this one because I'm talking, but there's a lot of times where I'm just making something. And you can just speed it up and add a bit of music.
Yeah.
I've gone through lots of comments. People are liking the music a lot,
Oh,
Anna.
good. When we picked the music, it was in August. No, it was in September.
September. It wasn't that long ago. We haven't been doing this since
We
August.
started planning it in
Well,
August.
did we?
We did the first one in August because I was on summer holidays. Definitely.
Without this, nothing would happen.
Are we checking the dates to confirm what
No,
you just...
I'm just saying, without the black
Yeah.
book, nothing would happen.
It's true.
It wouldn't, would it?
But in September, I was listening, and it was quite a cold day, so I'm going to be in North England, so I had my blanket wrapped around me, and I was listening to all the Christmas tunes. I was so Christmas, didn't I? Sent Kate a little video of me all wrapped up listening to Christmas
That's
music.
right, because we have to find royalty-free music, and there's not a lot of it,
No,
really.
some very bad stuff as well.
Yes.
We keep wanting to put, there's a couple of really cheesy ones that we keep wanting to slip in, and it's like,
Well,
should we do it?
I think that was the last time you were here. We were doing an edit, and the last thing you were doing was putting the music on, and I was here. And what do you think of this one? And we put it on like 3 seconds in. Oh no!
And there's one that's really beautiful, one of the Plinky Plonky ones. But then about 2/3 of the way through, it just goes really awful,
Yeah.
and really like synthesized, horrible organ sounds.
Yes, and the Sugar Plum Fairy, the bassoon.
Yeah, that took quite a lot of editing, didn't it?
So you see all the behind the scenesy stuff that goes on with Anna here, and with Rita, who's now in Canada and doing the things that she's doing over there, and John, who helps me out as well. And and in the new year, Martha and Adam are going to be helping me. Last Homely House Enterprises is now a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, it really is, and it's good. It's good. So yeah, you just see, me sitting in front of a camera whittering on, but there's a lot goes on behind the scenes. This one shouldn't take any editing or much editing at all, hopefully. Mind you, it depends what your tolerance is for very, very long, chatty videos. Well, that's what this is.
Yeah.
But some of the other ones that we're doing, and we're not, we're not experts at this, Anna.
No,
We're learning, aren't we, as we go along? We really are. So we crave your indulgence.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so do you want this now? You can have this to play with.
Yes, please.
And then I'll get on and one of the things I was going to do was stack logs, but is it still raining outside?
It's so horrible out there.
Is it?
Yeah, really horrible. You don't want to go out there.
Because I really thought that, the dry logs got delivered the day before yesterday, pouring with rain.
Oh no, they've just been out in the rain.
No, I had the tarpaulin over them, but that big billy wind last night blew it off.
Oh no, I'll just put it back on and then come inside.
I have.
Oh right, good.
I did that, and then I thought, no, I should just go and stack the log.
Oh, but there must be a nice day soon.
Yeah.
I haven't got my phone on me, but let's check the forecast.
We'll do that.
It's grim.
Well, YouTube friends, that's the longest video ever.
How long is it?
Well, you phoned me 26 minutes ago.
Okay.
And it was an hour before that.
Wow.
So we can take quite a lot of that out, Anna.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what about putting some of that lovely music in?
Yeah. That nice bassoon solo.
Yeah. Okay, there's a little bit of behind the scenes for you guys. Maybe we do it in 2 parts.
Yeah, that's a good
Should
idea.
have had that for an idea.
Because an hour and 26 minutes
is
is
a
quite
long time.
time.
Okay, really, really nice to chat, and really great that Anna turned up here so I can stop now. We'll catch up with you next time. Bye.
Bye.